What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about if it is worth playing Fortnite in 2023. So this video is going to be targeted at people who have either quit playing the game or never really got into the game. I'm just going to kind of talk about the state of things, how the past year of Fortnite has been, and what I think of it. If you do find this video helpful and informative, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more. If you're a newer player, any comments you have down below, just ask them in the comments. And if you are someone who actively still plays the game and watches my content, comment down below kind of what you think of the state of Fortnite. So the first thing we're going to talk about is going to be the game mode options, because I feel like this is something that people kind of miss or don't really think about. They think of Fortnite Battle Royale. I love Battle Royale. It's my favorite game mode. It is what drew me to the game, and it's what I still continue to play. But Fortnite is more than just BR at this point. We have build, we have zero build. So regardless of how you feel about building, there's a mode for you. I know a lot of players played in the early days and then quit because of builds. Zero build is a permanent game mode at this point, and there's even separate loot pools between the two game modes, because there's some items like porta bunkers which are very helpful in zero build but aren't really necessary in build. So we have two, core game modes, but there's also creative as well, which kind of flies under the radar sometimes. We recently had creative 2.0 drop like earlier this year, a few months ago, which allows people to have much more control and customization over the game modes they make in creative. And so there's really something for everyone in Fortnite. We have game modes like Only Up. There's lots of like zone wars maps or big free-for-alls that people create in creative, as well as some more like unique game modes that people make that we'll see kind of release later down the line. I think the potential of creative is infinite, and regardless of what type of game mode you like to play, there's probably something for you in creative. Not only is this great if you aren't really interested in BR, but if you're maybe, not really feeling BR that day, or you want to take a break from BR, but you still want to level up your battle pass, because I know a lot of players with games kind of get stressed about battle passes and feel forced to play the game. With creative, you can play, anything you want and still get XP for it. Even like Only Up, which is just like a platformer game, built inside of creative. There's Fortnite Only Up maps. You get a lot of XP for doing that. There's also ranked mode, which was added somewhat recently, like earlier this year as well. It's not perfect. To be honest, I've never seen a game where everyone is just happy with like the ranked mode and thinks it is done well, but Fortnite now has a ranked mode, and there was even a leaked racing mode that should be coming later this year or maybe next year, and a first-person mode coming to the game at some point. So there's like the amount of gameplay options there are within Fortnite is ridiculous, and there is skill-based matchmaking even in pubs. It's kind of weird that they have ranked, which is ranked, and then pubs with skill-based matchmaking, but that is the case. So if you are someone who played in the past and quit playing, or has never played the game, it's not like you're going to hop on the game and just run into somebody who's been playing for 6+ years every single day for like 12 hours a day. That's just not how it works. Obviously, skill-based matchmaking is a hot topic in every game, and everyone is kind of biased in their own favor and thinks they're getting kind of screwed by the matchmaking, but it's there and it does work. If you're a new player, you're not going to be playing against Ninja, or at least you shouldn't be. And new players will play against mostly AI in their first few games. So it's very easy to give the game a try and get in and kind of learn at your own pace. Initially, I really thought it was lame that like there was just entire AI lobbies for new players, but having seen like a streamer I know get into Fortnite for the first time, there is a lot of things all at once, and it can be very overwhelming. So having that game mode, which is only AI, to play and kind of, learn at your own pace and kind of acclimate to that, is very nice. And this isn't like a game mode you have to select or anything. It's just like when you first ready up in the game, it will be all bots, and it's not really going to phase you out of those lobbies until you're just like winning every game versus them or getting lots of kills and things like that. So yeah, Fortnite game modes, there's tons of them. There's something out there for everybody in Fortnite, and there is in public matches skill-based matchmaking, and if you're a new player, you will play against mostly AI. Fortnite has chapters and seasons. Chapters are essentially like a block of seasons that all take place on the same map. Currently, we're on chapter 4. So chapters 1 and 2 were both 2 years long each, which meant 2 years on the same map. But with chapter 3 and seemingly chapter 4, based on like leaks and rumors, Fortnite has gone to making these chapters yearly, meaning that we get a new map every year. And then also there's typically like an overhaul to, the graphics at the time, or some new features they add, which like in chapter 4, they added augments, which were like perks essentially, or nice little bonuses you can get from time to time. But the main point of a chapter is a new map, and then there's also new gameplay features that come with that. And now we get yearly chapters, so it's like every year we get a new map essentially, and then that map is changed season to season. There's definitely like pros and cons to yearly chapters, like good and bad things, but personally, I like this change. I think it's pretty good that we aren't stuck on the same map for 2+ years. I love the Chapter 1 map. It is my favorite BR map in any game I've ever played. But people like to forget that, Season 7, 8, 9, like the final few seasons of that chapter, people were really, really wanting a new map. So I think getting a map done in a year and then going on to the next one is just good for gameplay, and I think it helps with like burnout, because if you don't really enjoy the map and there's only a few months until the new one, it's at least something to look forward to, and you don't feel like you're just like doomed to keep playing on this map for like another year and a half. When it comes to seasons, I think Chapter 4 has done an incredible job of making each season feel different, and then also keeping the momentum going with updates. And kind of to circle back what I was just saying about chapters, Chapter 4 was the late 2022. It came out into 2023. So when I mentioned Chapter 4, I'm pretty much talking about, during 2023. But when it comes to seasons, I think they've done a really good job, like I was saying. In the start of Chapter 4, we had like a medieval theme going on the map, and then a rift gate, which was like a portal to another reality, was built. If you do the challenges, you kind of help with the storyline progression week to week. But the rift gate was built, and this was like a portal to another reality. And then this brought in Season 2's biome, which was like a futuristic Japanese huge city, along with some more like ancient Japanese themed POIs. And then at the end of Season 2, we started to get a bunch of like earthquakes around the map, and there was like cracks forming, and then the map collapsed in on itself, and we got like a jungle biome in Season 3 with like temples that were from some like abandoned ancient civilization, or I guess abandoned temples from some ancient civilization, sorry. And then during Season 3, there was like an apparatus that was being built and repaired. This was something that was left behind from that ancient civilization, and when all those challenges were completed, the apparatus or whatever displayed some sort of like solar projection, predicting some sort of eclipse, which is likely what is going to befall the island in the next few days, kind of leading into Season 4. And that's kind of where we are at now. I just kind of laid out the entirety of the Chapter 4 storyline to show that each season was like so different. Season 1, we had the medieval biome. This was the map here. And then Season 2, we had the Japanese biome added onto the map. And then Season 3, after that Japanese biome, we had the jungle added onto the map. And each season's map felt distinctly different, with different POIs and different biomes. And this is something that players really knocked Fortnite for in Chapter 2. In Chapter 1 of Fortnite, we got, every season there was like solid map changes, at least after the first few. There's solid map changes, and you could look at that map and immediately know which season it was, like, easily. Chapter 2, there wasn't as many map changes season to season, and a lot of those map changes would kind of just go away after one season, and people really complained about the lack of biomes. So if that stuff really bothered you and you played in Chapter 2, the level of map changes, I think, has been done really good in Chapter 4. Not everybody is going to like every map change, I'm not a fan of the jungle whatsoever. I will have a review video about Season 3 tomorrow, but, like, I'm happy that they at least changed something on the map, rather than just nothing at all. Like, not every map change is going to hit and be amazing, but it's better to have some misses and some hits than just no map changes at all. And I feel like map changes are a very integral part to Fortnite for me. I quit in Chapter 2, and the map was a decent part of that. So that's why I focus so much on the map changes. But even then, season to season, there's been an update pretty much every week. I can't really think of like a vast period of time where there weren't really any updates. Maybe like early Chapter 4 when Epic was on their winter break, or it could be argued during the summer break as well. They have 2 breaks a year, winter and summer, where the entire company goes on vacation for 2 weeks. Not really sure why they do it that way, but that's how they do it. But during those times, the game is kind of stale, but that's a 2-week period 2 times a year. It's not a big deal. And even during, I know the summer event was a lackluster, there was content added to the game, or like little updates when Epic was on break. It just wasn't as groundbreaking as people wanted it to be. But overall, I've been very happy with like the flow of content and flow of updates in Chapter 4. Again, if you're someone who quit in Chapter 2, this was probably something that bothered you in those early seasons, but they've gone back to like, consistent updates pretty much every week. There's been something pretty much every week so far this chapter. And they've also done a good job of kind of listening and communicating with the community, much more than they kind of did in late 2019, early 2020. Not as great as like peak Fortnite in terms of how like the feedback we get from Epic, but it's definitely been improved from where it was in chapter 2, I would say. And we've also gotten pretty major late season updates for every season so far in chapter 4. And I think this is like the best step Fortnite has taken in years. I've talked about earlier about how like those longer chapters really dragged out and it just felt like a lull, like everyone was just waiting for the new chapter to end. And I feel like seasons happen like that in a lot of games as well. Like any game that has seasons, if you guys play them, you're probably, used to this, where a season comes out, it's really hype, it's exciting, get a few updates, awesome, and then it just kind of falls off a cliff at the end, and everyone for like the last like month or 5 weeks is just looking forward to the next season and wondering what is going to change. But with chapter 4, Fortnite has done these really big late season updates. In season 1, we got the Most Wanted update, which was like a heist theme update. And they added a bunch of vaults to the map that you had to like eliminate a boss and open. And they also added these heisted exotic weapons, which were unique weapons, or they were like weapons that were already in the loot pool, but the heisted ones had unique effects. Like the heisted Maven shotgun got an increased fire rate and increased your movement speed as well once you hit somebody with it. There was like an SMG that gave you unlimited sprint. There's a bunch of unique like exotic weapons for this update. And then there was also a heat system, which I believe this went up if you eliminated players or collected gold on the map. But as your heat level increased, you would start to regenerate HP and you would also move faster. And then I think you would show on the map as well, or like you would be more visual to other players in some way. Forget what it was. But you move faster, you regenerate health if you're out there being active on the map. There was vaults added. There was these new exotic weapons. It felt like an entirely new season. And this was in like the last month of that season, like it was just like a massive update. There was also a mini battle pass with this that you could complete to unlock skins. And this is something they've done every season so far. The Most Wanted update was exceptional. It was amazing. I think it's the high point of chapter 4 so far. For season 2, we got a Star Wars update. And then for season 3, we got a Jujutsu Kaisen like late season update. Neither of these were as good as the Most Wanted update, but it's still much better than just, nothing for the last few weeks, I think. So, yeah, that like late season just kind of drag where you're just hoping it ends and waiting for it to end isn't as much of a thing in chapter 4. Not only have the seasons not been as long or super long, but also we've had good consistent flow of content throughout, and then a late season update, which really kind of reinvigorated the game late in the season, I think. So I think these are very good for the game, and I'm happy to see what they kind of do with this going forward. Final things I kind of want to talk about are going to be collabs, because it's a huge part about Fortnite at this point, and kind of how you feel about them will definitely impact your view of the game. I don't really care about collabs. It's whatever to me. There are some people that despise collabs, and they feel like it's kind of ruining the originality of the game. I feel like that ship sailed a long time ago. Like, let's just say, for example, we're on the 300th collab. Is the 302nd really going to change that? Like the originality of the game is gone to an extent. I feel like a lot of people are like me in that they just don't care, but there's also a lot of people out there that really like the collabs, and they like that they can play as like Spider-Man fighting Goku and then get third-partied by a Darth Vader or whatever. Like that kind of concept, never really a big deal to me, but a lot of people kind of do care about that sort of thing and aren't interested in that sort of thing. In this season alone, we've gotten Transformers, Terminator 2, which is a quite an old movie, Futurama, Jujutsu Kaisen, the WWE, and there's probably more that I'm forgetting about. These were just the ones that were listed off the top of my head recently within the game. Pretty much, like, if you're a fan of any show or movie that's like coming out or ongoing, there's decent odds that Fortnite is going to get skins of it in game. And sometimes they even add items, and that's usually where like the hot topic comes. It's like, is this item overpowered or not? The Jujutsu Kaisen update brought forward some items that some players complain about. I'm not a huge fan of them personally, but again, I would rather have something at the end of the season than nothing, so I don't really care about it. One final thing I want to talk about is going to be the lack of live events, because this has been an L. Live events were a huge part of Fortnite. I feel like even people who had zero interest in playing the game, they would see the events and be like, oh, that's something cool for the game. Like, I don't care about the game, but that's cool. We haven't had any events in Chapter 4. The last time we had a live event was the end of Chapter 3 going into Chapter 4, and it's seeming like with Chapter 4, the only live event we'll have will be the end of it. I think that is not great. That's just, there's no way around it. It's just not good. they have done a good job of tying the seasons together. Like I kind of talked about the Rift Gate being built, and then that bringing season 2, and then the earthquakes happening, and then that bringing season 3, and then now we're getting the eclipse into season 4. So they've done a good job of like tying the seasons together and making you care about what's going on the island if you do the challenges and stuff. But I think the lack of live events is definitely something that, you know, if you were to compare 2023 Fortnite to a few years ago, that's a step back. A lot of the gameplay and a lot of like the way content and updates are handled, I think, is a step forward, and it's like a huge improvement. But the lack of live events is just something that sucks, because live events at the end of a season kind of culminating the progression that has happened with the the challenges and the storyline into what is going to happen to the island in the next season was a huge part of what made Fortnite, and that just really hasn't happened in Chapter 4. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys found this helpful, informative, interesting. I just kind of wanted to lay out general overview of Fortnite, as well as like how the game has progressed over the course of the year, what the good and bad things have been. I think the game is in a great spot. Like, what makes Fortnite a great game to me is not only, you know, the gameplay itself, but the updates were just a huge part of Fortnite, especially in 2018. You know, it was crazy how many updates we were getting. Also, the map changes. And they've done a really good job with the updates and a consistent amount of map changes so far this chapter. So I think overall 2023 has been a great year for Fortnite. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Like I said earlier, if you have any questions, I'll try to get to them. Or maybe somebody else in the comments can help you. And if you are someone who's actively playing the game, let me know what you think of, you know, these things and the state of Fortnite. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.